Meanwhile, clashes breaking out in Hawara in the West Bank just a short while ago after hundreds of people came out to show their support for the family of the two Israeli brothers gunned down on Sunday afternoon. The Palestinian Health Ministry saying just a short while ago, one Palestinian has been killed and one is injured. Our correspondent Nicole Zedek was at the Tapuach Junction in the West Bank a short while ago and filed this update.
Right now, I'm about 2 miles away maybe, but I can hear the screams and the protests all the way from out here. We can even see some smoke actually from Hawara itself as there are more protests, more violent protests happening there as well. So really quite the contrast in just 2 miles. But Israeli military, they have been preparing for this type of unrest and this repercussion from today's terror attack. So Israeli military have really been patrolling the area in Hawara, in Tapuach Junction, and closing off the roads to Nablus itself just to make sure that they are keeping everyone safe and being on high alert, because right now that is the Israeli military's #1 goal, just to stopping everyone coming in and out of Hawara as they make sure they're stopping all of the cars and making sure that people do stay safe. In the background, I can hear gunshots right now being fired actually as the unrest in the area is so high. Now, this is nothing new, unfortunately, for the area. We have seen increased tensions, increased protests, increased violent attacks for several weeks, several months now, really. And many of the Israeli protesters, demonstrators here waving the Israeli flag, they are saying enough is enough. The latest terror attack to happen in Hawara, this needs to be the end of it. And so they are calling on the Israeli Knesset politicians to really put some more action into what they say they are going to do. Increasing patrols doesn't seem to be enough, as this has been something that has been happening in the area for weeks now, and so they want it to go one step further. Now, that is what we saw with the approval of the Israeli Knesset approving the death penalty for terrorists, but many protesters say they want to see even more. They want to make sure that today's terror attack was the last, if at all possible, because this is their home, and if they can't feel safe in their home, they are calling on politicians to hopefully act now and make it all a better place for them to come home to.
That update a little earlier from our Nicole Zedek. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu saying just a short while ago, people should not take the law into their own hands. Let's take a listen.
The IDF and the security forces are currently in pursuit of the murderer. We will find him, capture him, and deal with him. But even when the blood is boiling and the tempers are high, do not take the law into your own hands. I ask to let the IDF and the security forces do their job. I remind you that in the last few weeks they have eliminated dozens of terrorists and prevented dozens of terror attacks. Let the IDF complete the chase. Don't take the law into your own hands. Together, we will defeat terrorism.
So for more insight, we welcome to studio Palestinian affairs expert, Colonel in the Reserves, Alon Eviatar, former advisor to Kogat, the coordinator for government affairs activities in the territories. And Alon, thank you for being here on this very tragic day. Tensions are high. The search is still underway for the gunman following that fatal terror attack in the West Bank in recent hours. And now clashes breaking out in Hawara. We're hearing one Palestinian has been killed, one is injured. And there we heard Benjamin Netanyahu telling people not to take the law into their own hands. Your assessment of what is happening right now in this region?
Well, you can feel the tension over there easily. It's easy to feel it. Just to illustrate or to describe the area for all, this road 16, crosses the West Bank from south to the north, and every day, day by day, thousands of Palestinians and settlers and Jews cross this road together on the same time. You can't put every meter or every 2 meters Israeli soldiers or policemen to prevent any violence over there. So you have to I would say, to prevent violence and terror actions previously in order to prevent any connection and if you want casualties over there on the road, because the distance between the Palestinians and the Jews over there on this road, which is a main one, is so small, so little, so you can't control it 24/7. I believe that the IDF and the Shabak, the Israeli agency, will put their hands on the terrorists, because this road is covered by cameras all over, and it's a question of time. But as much as I can, I would say, analyze the situation, I think that the atmosphere over there is so negative that I can't see any, I would say, decreasing of the violence wave, and we hope that it will calm down. But I can't see any tools, no in the Israeli side, no the Palestinian side, in order to prevent any escalation. And I think that we have to go with all our forces and instruments in order to, I would say, to minimize the way, or the way to third intifada, maybe in the future, you know, not in this time. But I think that the atmosphere in Samaria is so the level of the violence and the atmosphere is so negative, so bad. I can't see any steps that could calm down the situation over there.
And then we see images of sweets being handed out in Nablus, people celebrating when they heard that two Israelis had been killed in this terror attack earlier on the day, certainly exacerbating tensions as well. Briefly, your reaction. Of
course, this is the result of I would say, incitement. The incitement on the Palestinian street, top down and bottom up, is so, I would say, deeply, so you can't change it by a moment. It's all by the Israeli security job. I can say that we should find those leaders which lead the incitement in the Palestinian street, mosques, school system, and so on. This is the main mission in order to minimize the violence.
Palestinian affairs expert, Colonel in the Reserves, Alon Eviatar, appreciate your insight. Thank you.